fantastic talk coming up right now. We have Jaden Smith in the house, artist, designer, and activist. We also have Daniel Dartiste, artist and designer, and they will be moderated by Samata Pattinson, founder of Black Pearl. I'm going to go ahead and bring them out, so come on out. Jaden, Daniel, and Samata.
What's up, y'all? This doesn't work, but what's up? No worries, no worries. Oh, there we go. Boom, boom. Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Rock and roll is. Coachella. It's lit. Yeah, same. Yes. I'm excited to talk to them. This is gonna be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for taking the time. I'm also super excited about this conversation with both of you. So, basically, this space to me, and my awareness of this space, is that it's like somewhere for people to come together and understand some conversations about sustainability and things that affect people and, just to have a bit more meaning to things we talk about that sometimes can be seen as superficial. So, this conversation, I think, is going to be touching on fashion, music, lifestyle choices. So I wanted to start off by asking both of you, this idea of caring beyond what immediately affects us, going to other people on the planet, where did that kind of spark or desire to do something more meaningful begin for you and for you?
Well, I feel like for us in the fashion space, it's because of us constantly going behind the scenes, into factories, looking at how clothes are made, looking at the life cycle of clothes, seeing them being designed, seeing them being produced, seeing them being mass-produced, sold out to retailers, getting into the hands of the consumers, and what happens after that. So many clothes ending up in landfills and just ending up in places on beaches and just creating bad situations for humans. I think that really inspires us both to want to make a difference within the space of fashion, but also with sustainability and just figuring ways to just do it different. Because there is ways to do it right. There are brands out there that have going on different ways for brands that have figured out ways to do it in a better way.
Absolutely, I love that. And for you, like, where did your kind of spark moment begin?
It was honestly an accident because growing up, the concept of hand-me-down clothing was very much so a part of how my wardrobe developed and stuff. And then getting to high school, then college, it was, oh, you're wearing hand-me-downs. It was, oh, that's a really cool vintage top, or like, cool, did you grip that jacket, or like, from my dad's closet. But as I started to become more aware about the impacts that recycling and even just being able to wear clothes past one life cycle of one person or one generation, how impactful it was to be able to be like, oh no, we actually can do something for the planet by just doing something for each other. Sharing clothes, recycling clothes, giving clothes to other people. And that's so very much what one of the ethos when I wanted to design and start my own brand. It was based on the entirely thrifted and handpicked clothes so that we could not have to produce any clothes. So that was my beginning.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you mentioned something about language, because the sustainable fashion space has some really heavy terminology. We talk about circularity and all of these quite significant terms, but when you break it down, it's basically just saying wasted. So it's almost like how can we make it more personal and relatable to just anybody. The thing that really struck me for both of you is that these journeys, this desire to do something of impact, it feels like it started from a pretty young age, with just water. The idea for that, I think it started when you were 12 or quite young, and you seem to strike me as someone who also had ambitions and impact from a young age. So what can you say about just the possibilities for people who are young, what can be achieved, whenever you feel like doing something versus then become an adult?
100%. And actually, something I would say about Coachella all the time is this is a perfect place to come and really just put your feet in the grass and look at the sky, think about your life and who you are, and kind of begin to manifest your dreams and what you want to do for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Kind of make those plans. And I remember being here when I was young, looking at the stage and you're like, wow, I really want to make music, or look at everybody's clothes and you're like, wow, I really want to design shoes, or I really want to design the jeans that everybody wears when they come to Coachella. You know, I would come here and I would just look at things and I would just dream up dreams, and I would go home and I would write things down and, you know, try to imagine potential reality. So I feel like coming out here to the desert is kind of like an escape, a trip for you to like really manifest the rest of your life and your dreams. So I just feel like, yes, follow your dreams, and this is the perfect time to like get those things clear with yourself of exactly what it is that you want to create in your life.
You know, it's perfect. For me, I would say, just to piggyback on what Jaden said, we both come from partially homeschool backgrounds, and our environment was very much so built around a support system, family, cousins, a lot of people who were like, that's what you like, go for it. So I would say, yes, obviously, dream big, go for your dreams, but also encourage others to follow their passions and develop those talents and those skills, because you never know what that encouragement will do for them later down the line. I've met so many people that are like, man, that's crazy that you dropped out of school and like started making music, started like clothes, like my parents would never let me do that, or my family would never forgive me if I didn't go and finish school or get this degree. So be encouraging to others, because that encouragement, that support is what I know played a big role in us being able to follow our passions.
One of the things when I was kind of researching about both of you is like, you both have a very like solutions-oriented mindset, right? Like, you're like, okay, you know, for every problem there's a solution, you know, as opposed to like for every solution there's a problem. And I really think that is really important in the conversation of sustainability, because if you look at some of the stats and stuff that's put out there, it can feel quite overwhelming, like, how can I do anything of impact? So, talking about solutions, I wanted to touch on just water. And just, obviously there was an issue you saw with plastic pollution, and that was something quite overwhelming to you. How did you start this journey with just water? And then afterwards I'd love to know, like, how seeing this journey with just water maybe inspired you as well?
So, you know, Just Water actually started in a really funny way at a very young age. So I had two teachers, and one of the teachers was my surf coach, and they were teaching me how to surf, and they were super trippy, like super cool, like surf teacher, like, the ocean is alive, you can ride it, it's a vibe, like, it's amazing, like, you know, it's the best thing ever, it gives life to the planet, it's the reason you're alive, you're existing, like, this is sick, bro, like, I love it, I'm just gonna surf for the rest of my life, because I wanted to be a surfer when I was younger, and like, my parents wanted that for me too, and they were like, yo, just surf, and I'm like, I'm gonna, bro, I'm just gonna surf. Don't worry, that's all I'm gonna do. And then I went home to my other teacher, and they were like, you know, I had one teacher on one side of the world, and then another teacher back at home, and they were like, oh no, the ocean is dying. Like, it's alive, but it's like actively dying because of all of us, and you're a part of the systems that are part of killing the ocean. And I was just like, no, you're joking, like that's a joke. Like, I literally have another guy that you have to meet. Like they're telling me like that it's alive and you know, can ride it and it gives life, you know, like I think you got that's not dying. And she's like, no, it really is dying. And then she educated me on all the different ways that it was dying, and that set me into a weird like spiral where I was like, I can either like freak out and pass out, or I can really just try to put all this energy into like trying to create something that will just, you know, light a spark for somebody to maybe, you know, push the industry of bottled water or sustainability in packaging in a better way, just a little bit for somebody to, you know, take that torch and get it into the next thing. Because we don't look at the things that we do as solutions because we are just only, the problems are massive, but we're just giving a little bit of the next step forward so that people can just take that little spark and light a fire and just set ablaze the next generation. You know what I'm saying? That's really what we're trying to do with Just Water, but it all came from a place of being scared, being young, being naive, not knowing what was going on, and wanting to make a difference. You know, so you don't always have to know exactly what's going on. I put the right team around me to educate me, Drew Fitzgerald to explain to me about sequestering CO2 emissions and different types of plastic and plant-based plastic, and he educated me so much, but it was a long journey of 10 years before I ever even got to see this like on a shelf anywhere. So it was an amazing journey, and also just another testament to like that compound interest and extreme focus building into something that, you're really extremely proud of. So it's really just about that focus and that real dedication.
Yeah, that will help me feed a question to you because, you talked about plastic and I think like right now we are on track to have more plastic in the ocean than fish, I think a lot of the time with fashion and clothes, people don't connect plastic and fashion, but, our polyesters and synthetics are essentially plastic, right? But then where do people, what can people do with that information and these are solutions. In terms of designing with that in mind, like designing with this idea in mind that how things are being made can be done in a way where the impact is not only less harmful, but maybe more positive, like inspiring people to see their clothes differently. Like, you both obviously look fantastic. Just needing to say that. But thank you. But clothes are identity, self-expression, and so on. So for you, Daniel, how did your relationship with clothing just as a form of self-expression become a conversation about self-expression and then impact, and then impacting more people outside of the joy that your clothes bring you?
Such a great question because I feel like a lot of what we're missing in this space when we talk about intersection between sustainability and fashion is a lack of educational resources, right? It's like, how do you make this topic appealing to people that just want to look good and want to express themselves or have a narrative of their own passions that they're trying to express through their clothing? So for example, one of my favorite brands, Pangaya, they're incredible, out of the UK actually, and they have these hoodies that, for example, are made out of this fiber developed from seaweed, right? And they literally have these tiny little statements on their these sweatsuits and their hoodies that says, this fabric is made out of seaweed, and I'm just like, just that tiny little statement, even though some people may not read it or it may just look like a logo or just some design text, is so informational and is so necessary as a medium, as a form of conversation. Because like you said, your outfit, what you wear is such a form of what you're about, your personality, your interests, your passions. And I think that using that also as a conversation piece to be like, hey, what does that say? It's like, oh, actually, it says that my hoodie is from seaweed. It's like, oh, that's interesting, tell me about that. And then boom, all of a sudden you're in this new space that kind of wouldn't have existed had that information not been presented to you in that way. So I feel like Jaden also does a great job of this with Disrespect. His brand is very informational, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you inundated, kind of the inverse effect of that guy with the time ago, you're inundated with all these designs and these patterns and you look and it's like, oh wait, this is information on planet-saving information. You know what I mean? Like this is actually something that can better the planet or share this or talk about it with somebody. So I feel like that information and using fashion as a means to really create conversations that can inspire people, change people's minds, or just simply inform them of something that they weren't privy to before.
Yeah, beautiful.
Let's go. You see? She's got the tiny little, so that tiny statement there actually tells what the fabric is made of.
Yes, made from aloe-infused linen. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
It's an amazing brand, and I love the fact that they define themselves as like alchemists and scientists. Like they consider themselves like mad scientists. And I feel like surely fashion is this like art of mad science. Like how you put stuff together is something that's unique and just experimental in a way. Which kind of leads into misfits, right? And this whole concept of what you've been building together as a community. So obviously you both have shared interests, you've got a whole relationship, you both kind of understand what you're trying to do together. So can you tell us a little bit about misfits and just like the influence behind it?
Essentially, it's about a collective, just trying to raise the consciousness of humanity through art and science, and like I was saying, like kind of that happening. And with our products, when it comes to fashion, because it goes from music, fashion, all different art, physical art, it's amazing that with fashion, it's something that we're trying to focus on really heavily, specifically this year, is making it 100% corrected products. 3 billion pairs of jeans are made each year. There's like 2,000 liters of chemicals that are in a single pair of jeans, and it's 700 gallons of water per t-shirt. So we're trying to make products where we develop a patch that we just make, and we're trying to put that patch onto different corrected like basic pairs of denim that we can create to essentially just reduce the carbon footprint of customers that are involved in the brand so that they don't have to feel bad like, oh, I'm supporting a brand that uses $2,000 of wallets and these new pairs of jeans so that I can buy them and wear them and then throw them away. It's like, no, I'm going to buy from this brand that these jeans have already been worn, maybe jeans are 50 or 60 years old, and that's also going to give them that cool form. Like, yo, look at those pants, they look like they have been around forever. And it's like, yo, they have. But Misfits also taking those pants and, we take them and cut them open, we make them bigger, we make them fit with the style and everything that would go with our new collection. We make them look how we would make them look, and they're completely new, but they're completely old, they're recycled, they're also sustainable, or denim, or shorts, or skirts, and it's a unisex brand, so whatever people want to wear, they can wear. But that's our big thing, is really trying to push sustainability, trying to push recycling and thrifting throughout the entire brand. And then when people say, hey, you don't want this anymore, you don't want to wear this anymore, give this to your little brother, give this to your little sister, give this to your friend, don't throw this away, because that just continues the life cycle of that product, and it's just going to continue to reduce the CO2 emissions that are registered to that garment. The more that you wear it. We were just talking about one of the biggest stigmas in fashion is, oh, I just got this, so I can't wear it again. It's like, no, that's the art of styling, and that's something that DRT's really missing. Being able to style with a piece of clothing in a million different ways in order to reduce the CO2 emissions that are associated with it. You know what I mean? And art and sustainability, hi, how are you? It's so much about creativity. She just raised me, so I don't remember that. But it's so much about art and creativity and being able to change the garments that we have and saying, oh, I ripped these jeans, I'm going to go so passionate on them. They're now fixed and new and different. I can wear them on people that think they're cool. So, that's the biggest thing with me, with Misfits, is just trying to make the most sustainable products. It's been a long time coming. We've seen a lot of factories, we've seen a lot of places, and now we don't want to work with factories and make new clothes. We want to work with these massive warehouses that are filled with old clothes and use them.
Amazing. And actually, that was kind of inspired me. Thank you for that, to ask you a question. Because first of all, I love that you're destigmatizing pre-loved clothing.
Yeah.
First of all, because that was always a thing in certain communities. Like, if you wore something that was pre-loved, there was a stigma that came with that. And also it's redirecting, because so many clothes are going shipped overseas to those countries, like in Ghana where my family's from. So I love that you're doing that, but I also feel like there's a conversation about the fashion model right now, and how it kind of pressures people to feel like they have to participate. And I feel like maybe what you're doing, and I'd love you to speak to this, Daniel, is kind of reconnecting people with this idea of like creativity, independence, and just like self-esteem too, right? So this idea of Misfits, like what does it mean to you when you look at the fashion industry now and what you actually do? How does it differ from like that model of like buy now, and buy the same as everyone else?
I'm going to answer this question with a question. How many people here in the crowd are wearing a thrifted piece of clothing? Show of hands. That's a lot of people, right? And I feel like that right there is doing a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, however many people just raise their hands, you just lower your carbon emissions. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, even just like with these pants, they're completely repurposed, different. I mean, I'm sure there are over like 10 different pants that are repurposed into this one pair, but it's like, there are stains on, some of these pieces of fabric because they're old, clothing that somebody didn't want. And it's like, I think that as creatives, we can get, with our imagination, we can get with our clothes. If we just put some intention behind it. It's like, I have this shirt for 4 years and you didn't give it to me. And like, hey, it's for clothes. I never wore it because it was kind of small, and I found it across the other day and was like, I'm gonna wear this, and just cut 80% of it. But even just in doing that, I mean, I feel like I was inspired to really put some thought into the narrative that I was putting out into the world with my outfits as I became older, more intentional, started learning about how much the planet needs our help. And even with having Jaden as best friend, it's like, just water, all these massive, the water boxes all over the country. It's like these massive initiatives. It's like, man, how can I do something as impactful? And it doesn't have to be you starting a nonprofit or founding a massive company, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But also, you can literally make a conscious choice to wear something that you forgot about, or wear those old clothes in your parents' closet that you're just going to give away, or take those clothes to your friend's house that otherwise would end up in a Goodwill, and then have a stack of clothes, and then, you know what I mean? It's like, really just put that extra thought into it. You'd be surprised at what that creativity and imagination can do. I started buying clothes, as we talked about backstage, you guys that dress, and it's like, even things like that. I stay in clothes all the time, and especially my white clothes, and I'm like, damn it, I can never wear this again. And then once I started buying clothes, I got all of my same white, off-white, gray, whatever it was, clothes, and dyed them all, and now it gave me new life. So I think that creativity is that thought. It's just like, man, don't give up on your clothes, you know what I mean? Because it's essentially giving up on the planet. It's like, take that chance, take that step, give it to someone else, cut it, repurpose it. We took sewing classes together, and learned how to put all kinds of like t-shirt patches on pants and stuff. So I say just get creative with it and have fun, because that's what expressing yourself should be. It should be fun, it should be love, it should be positive, you know what I mean? Thank you.
That's beautiful, and I also love that you touched, yeah, this was white, got coffee on it, and now it's blue. That's how it is, right? And I'd love to just talk a bit about innovation. We talked about Pangaea, and to me they're one of the most innovative companies. They're just doing really cool stuff, but so are you and what you're doing. I've heard that there's some use of apple leather, or can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh,
so I just
yes.
think it's really important to talk about these kind of materials and stuff.
Yes, so when we were going down the path with Lisbeth of trying to create clothing factories that was sustainable, we did try to go down the path of, we are going to try to make new clothes, we're going to try to make it sustainable as possible. We were working with a factory in Italy, and everybody really wanted us to make purses, and it seemed like something that we would never do, so I was instantly down to make the purses. But I was like, we can't make anything out of leather, like I'm vegan, like I don't eat meat, I don't want to wear the meat or anything like that, so I was just like, we can't do that. So I was like, we would push, and that's the other thing, when people will say, oh, we can't do this, we can't make it more sustainable, they said it to us a million times with just water or whatever, or we can't make vegan shoes or whatever. It's like, you can, you just have to push and push and push and push. So what we did is we did that, and we eventually got them to make apple, like leather from apples to make the purses out of. And they look just like all black like leather purses, but they're completely made out of apples, and it completely blew our minds. And it was just like, that's an eye-opener of like, hey, you just have to push hard for your dreams and things that really matter, even when people push back at you, because you never know that you might come across an innovation that is just insane. And then we have other companies that we work with that I'm working on, it's called Harvard Collective. And Harvard Collective is a luggage company that's made out of fish nets out of the ocean. So we take fish nets out of the ocean, and we take them and press them into like these luggages that people can travel around with. And we love that. But we're also now using the apple leather on Harvard Collective. And after we made that adjustment with Misfits, we were able to then take that innovation to the next company. And I feel like those things are really important. But if we had not pushed for Misfits, then maybe Harvard Collective would be using normal like cow leather, which would like not be great for the company. You know what I mean? So I think that innovations with apple leather and different types of sustainability is amazing. And even with just water, and the cap, it was normal petroleum-based plastic for a long time, and then we had to push this. And we made the bottomless paper, that's as much as we can do. And then we were like, no, we're going to push and push and push and push. And then eventually we developed this new type of thing where we started making plastic out of sugar canes in Brazil. And then we found a farm that we didn't have to water because it was in the center of rainforest. So it was just, it worked out, when we figured it out, we pushed and pushed and pushed. And now other companies are using the sugar cane plastic as well. It's just about pushing for those innovations and what you believe in general, whether it's for sustainability or it's a song you have or an idea or a script or whatever. It's just about pushing and showing people that you're willing to push back and that you're serious about what you're doing.
Would you like to add anything on that, or kind of innovation piece?
Man, I'm learning every day about someone somewhere pushing the envelope. I was just on Instagram the other day, and I saw this woman who actually is making bags out of old comic shoes. And she's like emptying, she's cutting the shoe and stitching together and all this. And I'm just like, man, there's so much we can do. There's so many ways that we get creative. When I started dyeing use shoes or my clothes in my house. I had a friend of mine that was a New Balance actually tell me, you should really experiment with using plant and vegetable dyes for this stuff. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then a couple days later, I accidentally stained something with avocados and was like, oh my gosh, she's a genius. She's a genius. But no, speaking of innovation, even going back to Pangaya, they do so many things that I'm just like, I can't believe that you can do this with natural, their pigments and some of their clothing is so vibrant, and they're using plants, vegetables, flowers. Their comfort jackets are some of my favorite that I own, and they, instead of using goose down and all of the usual materials that they use, it's actually a flower down that they use like flowers for. And it's like, it's genius. That's genius, you know what I mean? So I think that there's always something, even with Jaden's doing with Mystery Spell, I with my own brand, I've taken a bunch of thrifty clothing, and for example, my first collection, we did a bunch of jeans for the spring. And then we took all of our excess inventory for the next year, and for our summer collection, we cut all the denim pants and turned them into cutoffs. You know what I mean? So it was like no excess, no waste, like get creative with it, you know what I mean? And I think that pushing that Jaden was talking about is releasing these great ideas that otherwise, would have just gone unsolved, you know what I mean, unideated, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like some of the best innovations in the world come from creative solutions to problems. And we all have everyday problems that we can solve with our own creativity, our own imagination. I think it's just a matter of deciding to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's powerful about positioning your weapon is you're putting things out into the world. Like you have the potential to do it and then show that it can be done.
Absolutely.
So that others or other companies can say, well, like if they did it then, surely there's a way that we can do it. Like all this stuff our manufacturers are telling us, like well, if they sourced it, it's got to be somewhere, and I see that with brands all the time. I used to do so much work with Westwood, and before she passed away, she would say like they always tell me they can't find it. And then I have to keep telling them like, we'll look again, and then I find it. So I'm actually interested in your sneakers as well. Because there's a cool story there. Can you tell us a little bit about how you approach creating these?
Yeah, so I've been partnered up with New Balance for like 5 or 6 years, and I really wanted to partner with them because they're actually the smallest of all of the major companies. That they're kind of like the underdog that's coming up. But they're like, in my opinion, like the coolest, and I really wanted to be a part of New Balance and work with them. And when I first started working with them, I went to the factory, and they were like, all right, we're going to show you the life cycle of a shoe. And then they were like, I was like, okay, cool. So we went to the factory, and I kind of watched them do the whole thing, and I was kind of like stitching a shoe from scratch. And I put the material down, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, material usually comes in like organized, like uniform, like patterns that are cut like in squares. And this material was just like in a jagged shape, and I was like, wow, it's so weird it's in a random shape. And they're like, oh, because it came straight from the farm. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, oh, this is like the hide of like an animal. And I was like, oh my god, like I just didn't register that shoes were all made out of like animals. Like I didn't realize that, and I was like, like I can certain people like to eat animals, that's understandable, but it's just like wearing it for no reason when half of us don't even know that that's what we're wearing. It doesn't have the print or anything on it. It's like that doesn't make any sense at all. So and awareness is like the basis of change. So you have to be aware of things before you can start to change them. So that's why education is so important. So I went to the factory, did that, and then I went to them and I was like, we have to make like vegan shoes. Like we can't make shoes out of these materials. That's insane. Like it just doesn't make sense, and that's going to give us, that's going to give us brand positioning. So many brands in this world, they don't have brand positioning anymore because every brand is the same. So being sustainable is actually something that gives you some brand positioning as well. Where it's like, and all of your shoes are like this. Let's make some sustainable. Let's make some vegan shoes. Let's make that different for misfits and give people a reason to buy our shoe over the next shoe on the shelf. Why should I buy this shoe instead of this shoe? Well, if you care about sustainability, buy this shoe because this shoe's vegan. And so that was a big journey that we had, and a long journey that we had with New Balance, and we were able to release like almost like over like 12 or 15 pairs of shoes with them, and they've all been completely vegan and sustainable. And we even made some shoes that were just taking scraps off of the floor in the factory.
No,
so
it's actually really cool.
Just patchwork, and people would buy the shoes and they just looked like random colors because it was just whatever was inside the factory.
And every pair was individual. I mean,
it was just like,
my mom wanted, she was was like, you know, I want the ones with the pink on the sides and the purple. I'm like, Mom, everyone is different. This is just scrap material.
Yeah, so that was a great opportunity with New Balance as well, and I love partnering with them. That's just another example of just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and they say no to you, say no back to them. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just like, we're gonna do this, like, we're gonna push for this, you know, and or it's gonna be embarrassing when somebody else, another company does it, and you guys is an amazing partner, and they made it happen for us, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Thank you so much for these two questions. And I love that you said about your mum, like wanting a specific one. But there are different philosophies, I think. Often when we look at the fashion industry, it's such a globally interconnected space. And actually when you look at philosophies around the world, like there are philosophies in Japan about enjoying the difference and enjoying the imperfections from no praise of shadows or in praise of shadows. This idea that finding two things that are slightly different is actually the goal. You know, and I love that. So if we could just maybe embrace these other philosophies of how we see the world and things we wear, then that inspires us to be a bit involved in how we approach things and not one kind of homogenous fashion, which is basically what you're doing. You guys are saying it doesn't have to be homogenous. You don't all have to do the same thing. I wanted to quickly ask you, because you touched on being vegan, and I know that you have this vegan food truck because I've heard incredible things about it. I don't know if some of you have heard about it, right? It's amazing. Could you talk a little bit about that? Just like why you started it and just what it means to the community that it serves.
Yeah, so I started the I Love You food truck with Miss Tabitha, which is the chef that works for my whole family. And pretty much one day I was with her and she was just making vegan food, and I was just like, this is so good. Like, and it's so simple. People just like think that, you know, it has to be complicated or that it tastes terrible or it can't be just like nourishing and just good for you, like kind of like just like a home cooked meal like from your mom or something. And pretty much, you know, I sat with her and I was like, let's have here's the deal, we just have to offer this for people that don't have access to vegan food like this, and we have to offer this exact food to them because it's just too good, and I refuse to be the only person who eats it. And you know, because I was the only person that was vegan inside of my family, so the rest of the family wasn't even eating it. So it's like really, like, I was the only person that was eating it, so I was like, this is not okay. So I went down, I was working on an album called Iris, and I was working on that album, so I wanted to go in downtown LA and just the most like darkest, grittiest, weirdest places that I could find that no one ever imagined me being in, and I tried to submerge myself inside of it. So I did, and I ended up rubbing shoulders with a lot of homeless people, like quite literally, like right next to them, you know, around them, just shooting all the time through downtown and just kind of making some friends and just seeing some friends go through some insane struggles that I've never been so close to and seeing. And I was just like, okay, then this Tabitha and the food, and then the meet with the Iris and all the homeless people are here, and you know, that album was very, like, I don't care, I'm mad about everything, but I still was very caring about the world where I was making it, so I was like, alright, I still was still a real person, I'm inside of here. So when the album came out, we got a food truck, we wrapped it with I Love You all over it, and we went to downtown and we gave out 250 vegan meals from Miss Tabitha that she prepared for homeless people, and it was amazing. But the best part about it was that we kept doing it, and it stayed, and you know, part of it went viral, and it became like a movement, kind of on social media, where it's like this I Love You movement, this I Love You program. And we've done, I want to say we've done almost close to like 20 activations now, just getting out there on Skid Row, and now we have Samsung is partnering with us in what we're doing, and now we've even done activations this year. We're planning like another 15 to 20 activations this year just down on Skid Row. So it's just amazing, it's fun, I love to do it, and it's also spreading that positivity of like veganism and food, and I just love that I get to offer the same exact thing that I was eating to such a large group of people. So it's amazing. We do activations, we get out there on Skid Row every time we can, and it's beautiful, it's fun. Yeah.
Thank you. Just last question, because you've been so generous with your time. Thank you both so much. You've been so generous with your time. My last question was really about, you're both artists, I know you're a musician, you write, there's so many other nuances to what you do. To take away, like with our audience here, people who come and spend time in community with us in this conversation, what would you say would be a message or something you want them to be able to walk away with that is doable for them? Or just like an ethos or some sort of an encouragement to go on some sort of a journey towards a more sustainable kind of future?
Don't count yourself out. You know, it's so easy to think that a problem is too big, right? Or that it requires too many steps or too much preparation, but you're counting yourself out early by making those assumptions. You know what I'm saying? You can start fighting today. You can do something today that changes the way the planet heals. You know what I mean? We should all be on our own individual journeys of healing, and just in doing that, we can help heal the planet. You know what I mean? I feel like just by having your friends all at the beach hanging out is a great way for people to just be more conscious about, wow, this is the planet that we have. We shouldn't take it for granted. Let's do something about it. You know, pick up that trash that you see on the floor. You know, take that extra look at the park and, you know, see if there's anything that can be done just to give back, because you give back to the planet and it will continue to give back to you. And that's just a philosophy that I believe in. So start today. Don't count yourself out.
Thank you so much for your time. We just give them
Thank you guys.